is a very good one in terms of getting more African players to occupy that relevant space. Sam.
Yes, and you are so spot on that. The conversation is usually about Cristiano is about Messi, but then in the last few years, we've had some African players who have been talked up. Um, Case in point, Mo Salah. But then for a player like I want to try and bring into the player like Antoine Semenyo. Manchester City last year got I mean, around the same time last year, that's when they signed Omar Mamouche for a lot of money, 80 million around or so. And just a year later, they've signed another top African player in Antoine Semenyo. What that tells you is the fact that if you are done your job well, just like John mentioned, the big boys are going to see you. Man City is probably the, if I know, no, I don't think there's any dispute about that. They've been the best team in England for the past 10 years. Pep Guardiola has probably is the coach within that same span. For Antoine Semenyo, who just about when he was 20 was still playing in Ligue 1, because I understand he played for Bath City. In fact, that at a point, I mean, Spurs and Arsenal rejected him as a youngster. But all of that did not deter him. He keeps pushing, he keeps pushing. And then Bristol City took a chance on him to Bournemouth and now to the biggest team in England in the past 10 years, Man City, playing with under probably the greatest coach in some people's book that's ever had done the job. So it gives you, as a youngster, somebody to point out. Those boys that you saw at the Juventus Academy, or the what's the name? I'm trying. Uh, the academy in Morocco that has brought out El Nesiri, Nayef Agad,
Yes.
Bilal Koumis, and all of that. I'm trying. Mohammed Six Academy, yes, the Mohammed Six Academy, or is it the Asset Mimosas of Cote d'Ivoire who has brought in the tourists, the Drogbas? That gives you a point of reference to look to. The Antoine Semenyo 5 years ago is playing in Bath City or in Exeter, and now is playing in Manchester City. Then there is something, and this is it. He's 26. Peak of his career. This is what we expect any footballer to be at his peak, and so he's making this move at the best moment for him. Yes, there is a lot of competition in Manchester City, but if anyone has seen Semenyo in the past 2 years, then you know he can surely break into that team and be a regular. He's ready to do the work, the off-ball work, and also contributing goals. Last season it was Mo Kudus. It's Antoine Semenyo moving on to Manchester City. So Ghanaian football generally is also there's a lot to say about it. A lot of Ghanaian youngsters in Asante Kotoko, in Berekum Chelsea, in all of those clubs can look at these boys and say, yes, these are the guys that are going to, that's giving me the motivation to go on. So it's a lot for us as Africans when we see these are our stars getting into the top clubs. Brahim Diaz is lighting up in Morocco. He is a star in Real Madrid. Victor Osimhen, Ademola Lookman for Nigeria. We can talk about this. The Ibrahim Mumbai, the 17-year-old playing for Senegal, who also plays for PSG. So we're having a lot of African stars, young stars, middle age, that are already getting into the top clubs right now. You can look and you surely find one. Even for those who don't even play for us, the African countries, is it the Arsenal one, the Bukayo Saka, the Eberichi Eze? In everywhere you can always look at it. Look at Ugo Ekitike playing for Liverpool. That's a young man that could have played for Benin. So this is it. When any youngster sitting right now watching these players aspiring to get better, when you look at the kind of dues they're getting now, and then you feel re-energized that there is hope if I put in the work.
Very well, very well. All right. So let's pick thoughts as well from Fentu on Semenyo and how we expect this move to also get him ready mindset wise for the FIFA World Cup, because I mean, if we're looking at, I mean, once there's good health, there's fitness. I mean, definitely he's going to be one of the persons who have a guaranteed place in the Black Stars team going towards the World Cup. Ghana is not playing at the AFCON, and so Semenyo then goes in, has to settle in quickly, and then starts playing as Ghana gets ready for the that main international friendly against Germany, and then eventually Austria if the agreement goes through between the Ghana FA and the Austrian FA. Vento. Yes, Fento, can you still hear me?
Uh, Nat,
Very well. Please go ahead. Yes.
yes, yes. No, I didn't get your question.
No, I was just talking about the what all of this does to him in terms of preparing his mind for the upcoming FIFA World Cup with Ghana as well, and getting him to
Emmanuel.
also perform well and settle in well within whichever role Pep Guardiola is going to give him up front.
Yeah, I think the thing I like most about Semenyo is that he's beyond the football itself. He's a very good human being. It looks to me like he's a decent person. Everybody says some really good stuff about him. He's got a great attitude. He's always working. Look at the way he left Bournemouth. He couldn't have asked for a better script for a player that had been of great service to them, scoring the winning goal in a crucial Premier League game against Spurs. In the summer, when he was rumored to be on his way out, he signed a contract extension. In the end, he ended up making a lot more money for the club. He's left on a good note, and everybody at the club is wishing him really, really well. We saw earlier in the season, he got racially abused in the game against Liverpool. Gently reported to the referee, and look at the way he handled that. After that, he scored a superb brace in that particular game. And Semenyo just comes across to me as one of those guys that's got everything going for them. He's got great upbringing, great attitude. So all these attributes are important in the context of what I'm about to say, and that is the sort of conversations that have gone on from people about why he's choosing to join Manchester City and whether it is going to be a good move for him, whether he will get to play. I think he's the one guy that you cannot count against, that you can't discount. If you look at his entire career trajectory, he's been doubted all of his career from Bath, Bristol, and even to Bournemouth. It's always been the same story where people don't believe that he could go on to do great things, and then he goes on and he exceeds expectations. So I expect that he will find a way to be successful at Manchester City because he's just that kind of guy. He's physical, he's skillful, he's powerful, but above all, he's someone that will always keep working. Like, look, Semenyo is a proper definition of talent versus application. And this is the thing that you ask about. I think you asked Sam that question earlier, where whether or not Africa has lost um, that sort of talent that's being spoken about worldwide. I think Semenyo is a proper definition of what a modern footballer should look like. He doesn't need to have an excessive bit of skill. He just needs to be efficient. And these are the players that are thriving in the modern game. He knows how to play football. He knows how to make the right decisions at the right time. He's very good at playing football. He doesn't need to be the most skillful player, but he's very good at playing football, and that's why he will succeed at Manchester City. I think when it comes to the Black Stars, his success haven't exactly translated to goals in the sense of you know helping the team scoring or assisting in a Black Stars jersey. But I think there's nobody in Ghana that can say that Semenyo doesn't work hard when he puts on that Black Stars jersey. And sometimes all of that work eventually will start to come together for him. And I have a feeling that going to the World Cup, it could be the moment where in the biggest stage where it all finally comes together for him. Because I don't have anything bad to say about Antoine Semenyo. Yes, in the Black Stars jersey, the goals aren't exactly coming. Neither are the assists. but he's always there. He always comes. And look at all of the situations where players in the past have, not coming because maybe there isn't much to play for. He doesn't complain. He's always present. He always gives off his best. I like the guy. He's a superb human being. He just goes on, lives his life quietly. You wouldn't hear him say anything controversial, do an interview and say something bad about anything or any sort of he just carries on with his job. So good luck to him. I think that he's going to go on and do great things. So far, I think he's been superb. He's cracked the club 100 in terms of appearances in the Premier League for Ghanaian players. He's now the most expensive Ghanaian player in terms of transfers. And, you just have the feeling that this might not be the end for him. But Man City is definitely a very, very, very high level. And he could go on. I think it's up to the Black Stars now to help him get to the level of maybe potentially winning African Footballer of the Year. But all of that will be depending on what the Black Stars can win. Because I can't believe it that Ghana has not had an African Footballer of the Year since 1993. It's been, and no AFCON trophy since 82, no African Footballer of the Year since 93. It just keeps going on. I don't understand this. I don't get it. Nigeria have won 2 of the last 3 African Footballer of the Year awards. We haven't won any since 1993. John Boafo and co. Why aren't you discovering players that are winning us these awards? I don't get. Is it that Ghana we don't have, or is it the fault of the Black Stars? Because I don't think it's just a case that we haven't produced best players, players that are in the conversations of being Africa's best players in the last 33 years. Right? Because between 1993 and now, we produced some superb talent because Tony Yeboah has been in that. We produced Tony Yeboah in that spell. We produced Mike Lesson in that spell. Stephen Appiah in that spell.
Kwadu Asamoah.
Asamoah in that spell. Asamoah Jan in that spell. I don't understand it. Andre, are you in that spell? I don't get it. Somebody help me out here. It's blowing my mind. I don't get it. Why haven't we produced an African Footballer of the Year in 33 years? That's mind-blowing.
Okay, if I can just button, I know I'm the best of Ghanaians, but if I can just button, we have to look at these players as well. What clubs have they played for? What have they involved with the national team? Those are the things. Save for Semenyo right now.
You have the answers, Sam. You have the answers.
Yeah. So how many?
Asamoah won 4 Serie A titles.
With Juventus. Yeah, Kwadu Asamoah was with Juventus.
Michael Essien
won with Inter Milan. But then there has not been anyone in the recent past that have gone to the for Michael Essien. Thomas Partey at Arsenal was not really at the best because of injuries and Arsenal not winning titles. But here is a player that is going to a club that you can always bank on to win titles. So, like you said, maybe this is it. In the next 1-2 years, this might be the guy that will win that, that bring Ghana into that conversation again, because he's going to be winning trophies, at least with Man City, and then Ghana going to walk up if they can just maintain it or trying to improve from what they've done, just to stabilize with not sacking coaches and bringing in coaches, which has happened in the last 4-5 years, and just try to stick to Otto Addo. I think that.
Sam, I have a question for you. I have a question for you. If you go back to 2010, right, Asamoah Gyan, World Cup quarterfinal, AFCON final, he was literally the only guy leading Ghana in that year. That year, I think at Stade Rennais, he scored something like 15 goals or something like that season. So he had a superb season. He won BBC African Footballer of the Year. But then the African Footballer of the Year award, Nathaniel Attoh wins it. That year, Attoh wins the treble with Inter Milan.
Yes,
but didn't do anything really with Cameroon. Cameroon were at the AFCON and they were at the World Cup as well. And African Footballer of the Year, John doesn't win it. Did that make sense to you that year?
Yeah, but like you just said, he was playing with Stade Rennais. Stade Rennais didn't get to win anything. He got to the quarters with maybe if they had gotten to that, if that penalty had gone in, and Ghana got into the semis, maybe it will be different. But then Samuel Eto'o won treble back to back. Don't forget that. He won with Barcelona, and a year after won with Inter Milan. Even though I don't think he scored up to 15 goals all season, because he was playing more like he wasn't playing as a striker with that Jose Mourinho Inter Milan side. But then he's in a team that is winning trophies. So those things always have to come in place when all of this, because all these awards are usually popularity contests. It's not just about the individual performances alone.
Yeah, but I still feel like 2010 Jan should have won.
Yeah. Maybe he would have scored the penalty, because that penalty that he missed was not just for Ghanaians that were disappointed. The entire African continent, we all felt it. That penalty should have gone. Maybe if he had, and then I'm just bringing that on the lighter side. Maybe that's why a lot of people were not so happy with him, and they didn't get to vote for him.
But then Sam, when BBC African Football of the Year, that was left entirely to the fans to vote, and that won. So it proved that he was still popular among the fans. But I just don't know what was going on at CAF over there and how they came up with the votes. But yeah, anyway, so that's what's under the bridge now. Hopefully.
Yeah, definitely, gentlemen. All right, so let's now get into the conversations, around the games that have been played, and it sure is amazing. We've seen some amazing football. We've seen, we've seen some amazing football. We've seen some great goals as well. We've seen the refereeing and everything. We are looking forward to the remaining quarterfinal games later today, but let's talk about what we've seen so far, beginning with Morocco. And I'll have John have that, because John has another commitment to take care of. So we'll let him have the first word on the last game that was played last night between the host Morocco and Cameroon. Cameroon coming into this tournament with all of those issues, the politics behind, the power play, the politics, appointment of a coach. I mean, 2 coaches as a go, and having these players come up to this point. This is remarkable, isn't it? Especially for Cameroon. At least they've been able to get to this point. Looking at all the
certainly. Yeah, certainly, and I saw that the president Attoh of the Cameroon FA went into the dressing room and told the team that they need to be proud of the performance that they had since the beginning of AFCON and how far they got. Given the turbulence and the chaos that was in and around the team, they did perform at quite a good level, but it seems like it was a little bit of a step too high for them to be able to get to the next level and beat this host nation that's been really very, very excited about hosting, and there's been a lot of pressure on this Morocco team. And so that was what was really interesting to see from the beginning of this AFCON, to see how they would deal with the pressure, because there have been some of the fans, especially from Morocco, who have been doubtful about Ouedraogo, whether or not he's been too defensive, whether or not he could play better, more offensive with such a talented squad. But he's been able to do well and to be able to hype the team and have them perform at the highest level when they needed to. I was really impressed yesterday in the match that they played against Cameroon, because I wasn't expecting them to be totally honest. I thought that this Cameroon team could probably beat them. But if you look at the way that they played, and both when they were on the transition, when they were playing a bit lower down, more defensively, and then hit this Cameroon team on in the counter, but also when they were on the front foot, they knew exactly what they were doing. They had a game plan. You could see that they were consistently fouling this Cameroon team higher up the pitch to disrupt them, so they didn't get into that kind of groove. They saw that if they were able able to press them in the right ways. And even if they were able to also put pressure on Baleba, who seemed to be the key player in this team, that they would do the job, and they did that perfectly. And so it'll be interesting to see how it goes for the next, the semifinals, and then also potentially the finals. But it's good to see that this Moroccan team, despite all the pressure, all the investment that's gone into the pitches that don't flood when there's a lot of water, into everything that's been put into this national team, and then also the other national teams, because you see with the success in the Arab Cup, the success in the Under-20s World Cup, that there's a little bit of pressure on this Moroccan team to deliver at home. But they're dealing well with the pressure. Brahim Diaz has been fantastic. The whole team has been fantastic. And so we'll wish them well in the next rounds of this AFCON.
All right, John, thank you so much. And your mention of that speech or that motivational message by, Samuel Attoh after the game in the dressing room was very, very profound. He lifted their moods up. You realize that some of them had their heads down and everything, obviously because of the disappointment. But what impressed me was his leadership in lifting them and telling them that, listen, it was a tough one for us, but you guys came in and you represented the flag well. This is what you should be proud of. And on that note, we say thank you to you, John. John Bafo is a specialist, marketing consultant, sports marketing consultant. Thank you so much for making the time to be with us with everything that's pulling your way this weekend. And let's see how things go in the remaining matches in the ongoing Africa Cup of Nations. So John Bafo will take leave of us now. Show still continues. We've got just about 30 minutes to wrap things up here on the Joy Sports Link. So you just heard from John Bafo from the heart of Côte d'Ivoire in Abidjan. He's a sports marketing specialist, and also our tournament correspondent, Joy Sports editor, Fentou Tahiru Fentou there in Rabat, Morocco, and Sam Adeyemi in Nigeria from Lagos. And of course, we'll now go to Coach Kweju Ajay-Jima for more on that game that Senegal played against Mali. A very, very tough one indeed, but Senegal showed quality once again and showed that resolve to want to get into these final stages, to do what they did two tournaments ago in clinching the main trophy. Coach?
Now, I think with Senegal now, the team is a mixture of youth and experience. And so when you combine that together, it gives you that kind of resource when you play such tournaments, because sometimes when you have too many experiences in the team as well, without the energy to run, that can also affect your productivity all in all. This Senegalese team is very well oiled because of the amount of experience they have when they have to control games, when they need to accelerate. Then you've got the youth also pressing, and there seems to be a lot of confidence within this Senegalese team, the way they're moving as well. And then they've got the backing of the fans right behind them because of the confidence that the team kind of exuberates out of the tournament. And so that's very, very important. And they also look at the bigger picture. They've got to play France in the World Cup. So all of these factors coming in is sort of brought this team into this team very, very really high. And you look at how much they press, they run throughout the 90 minutes and into the channels, into the transitions, even into the pockets, how they move around. It's very quite interesting. Up until the 90th minute, they're still going for it. They still want to score. They still want to create chances. And that is very important. You've got players like Mane at that level, and they're still demanding the balls, even when they're goal up, even when they're 2 goals up. So that's very important. On the other hand, Mali, obviously, because of the red card, also wasn't a good thing for them. It sort of gave the team unbalanced, and they found a struggle to really fit up against 10 against 11 against a Wales Senegalese team that were ready to play, and a tournament favorite as well, quote unquote. So that all of these influences at this stage, in this knockout stage, is very important. If you have to really, really go on to win it or do bigger than what you did, you need these factors to come in. You need a backing of the fans, you need a confidence of the players really high, and then you need a mixture of experience and young players, all of it combined together to be able to get you that results. I think Senegal is looking like a team that is very, very well positioned to do it this year.
So Senegal looking very, very good indeed. There's no doubt about that. So we've got Morocco, the host, as well. And one of the other things that we're discussing the other day, I was just having a chat with Fentuo when he was in Morocco about this. The fact that we're seeing, top lining action. I mean, top rated Category A games for the quarterfinals, and definitely the ties that we're going to see in the last four are also going to be top rated.
I think not. This question goes also even beyond the fixtures. Let's also say a thank you to the Moroccan government, the Moroccan Sports Ministry, and how they organize the tournament, basically because of the pitches, the stadium, the level of the games are beginning to, we're seeing a higher level in these games because of the pitches. You look at the stadiums, you look at the pitches, the organization, the preparation is being spot on because we're having good turfs to play on, good pitches to play on, and that contributes to this level of game. When they pass the ball, you watch all these games match after match, and when they pass the ball, you realize it's smooth passing, just like you're playing in Europe or a very well standardized pitches, and that has also contributed to these games. And so I think the structure is good, and gradually we're seeing AFCON becoming a tournament, that wasn't used to be many years ago, but obviously we're now seeing the level very high. And then the pitches as well have been really, really leveled up. And so this has contributed towards the game. You cannot have good fixtures without good turfs and good pitches. And this is very important. We need to acknowledge that it's really risen the level of the tournament so far.
Amazing stuff there indeed. We're going to be getting into the conversation around today's games. Nigeria progressing very steadily. Yeah. But just before we go in, Fento wants to make a point.
I wanted to add something to the underdog story that you spoke about. The fact that we're seeing fewer teams now in the fewer smaller teams now in the latter stages of the competition. The big boys basically are setting their dominance. And I wanted to say that, traditionally, this has always been the case. In fact, since the turn of the century, only a third of the winners of the Africa Cup of Nations have been new time winners. And those three, we can basically count them. And in fact, out of those three, there have been new winners of the Africa Cup of Nations since the turn of the century. Only one of them would you consider like a real shock, and that is Zambia's 2012 win. I think it's the one victory that nobody saw coming, because the other two winners, obviously in 2004, I think anybody could see that Tunisia were riding the wave of the home support, and that they had a real chance of winning the competition because they also hosted it. And then the other new winners being Senegal. And I think there's nobody that was surprised that Senegal won that competition, because they had that's definitely the golden generation of Senegalese players. And they had been playing together for a really long time. They had the same coach for a long time, and they had massively talented squad of players. And so there wasn't any real surprise there. Other than those three, we've not had a new winner of the Africa Cup of Nations since the turn of the century. So the cup is always been and has always stayed with the countries that are familiar with the trophy. If you've never won the Cup of Nations before, history tells us that you're not going to win it. And that is just what it's been since the turn of the century. Like I said, only those three new winners have we had since the turn of the century. And out of those, as well, there's only been one genuine shock winner of the Cup of Nations. So this is truly in tune with what the theme has been. I think it's just worse this time around because at the last Cup of Nations, at least, we had some countries that had not been... that had never won... that had never won the competition before, make it to the quarterfinals. Because the last time, I think we had Angola, we had Mali, we had, I think, Equatorial Guinea as well, make it that far, that had never won the competition. This time, they completely shut the door. Out of the 8 countries that made the quarterfinals, only one of them had never tasted glory. And even that one was the first to get kicked out, and that's Mali. So AFCON traditionally is always being a tournament for the big boy. If you've never won it before, no seat for you here. Get out. It's basically the kind of competition that is being. And this year's has particularly demonstrated that it really is the tournament for the big boys. And I think a lot of it has to do with not just pedigree, but also I think the talent levels and how much investment that's been put in it. And I think it's also riding in the general theme and general direction of the way world football has gone. You look at the FIFA World Cup. How many new winners have we had in the last 100 years? One. Spain. Other than that, there's not been a new winner of the World Cup in that. It's unbelievable. So it's the same way with the AFCON. So apart from Spain's win, and even for Spain, there is if you look at
that's what they are perennial. They've been there. They've been close.
Exactly. And besides, it was also a golden generation of Spanish players, and you could just see that it was going to happen because they had won 2 Euros as well in that period. So other than that, like, you're not going to get a new winner of the World Cup anytime soon. You're not going to get a new winner of the AFCON. And clearly with Mali out now, we know that there will not be a new winner of the Africa Cup of Nations. And it's just what it is. Even for the host nation, Morocco, they hadn't won the Cup of Nations for 50 years. And if you look at even the last 50 years, every other winner of the Cup of Nations, apart from, like I said, those new winners, all the repeat winners are countries that have won it far more recently. Nigeria, the ones that are there now in the last 4, look at the countries that are getting into the last 4. Apart from the host nation that haven't won it in 50 years, the rest of them have won it recently. You know, if Nigeria makes it into the semi-finals, they won it only as recently as 2013. Senegal won it only as recently as 2021.
Nigeria, 2019.
Thank you. There you go. So it's not a competition for newcomers. It's like it's the old guard always asserting dominance, always asserting, and that's why Ghana has struggled, because you haven't been anywhere close to the title since in the last 50, like almost 50 years. So if you've not won it even if you've not won it recently, it's become really hard for even those that haven't won it recently to get closer to winning it. It's just one of those things that you have to accept. So in order for you to get there, you need to show enormous consistency over the years, like we saw Senegal do, and build a team that has competed consistently at the highest level in order to break into that bracket. Other than that, forget it. Those that have won it before will keep winning it, and it's just how it is.
Interesting stuff there. Well, 36 minutes past 1 p.m. right here on the Joy Sports link on Joy 99.7 FM, which is also live on YouTube. We'll be reading some of your messages as we go along. We'll now throw the focus on Nigeria versus Algeria. That sure is a very interesting tie. And I'll start off with you, Sam. Nigeria going up against Algeria. Tell me, first of all, about what the general thoughts are in town about the Super Eagles and the performance they've posted so far. What are the levels of confidence on the part of the fans? Are they, and then of course, we'll talk about the Osimhen issue, the little issues in the background about players wanting to boycott training, ahead of, getting ready for the games and all of that.
Okay, so let me start with the fact that coming for this tournament, there isn't that much confidence in the team, which it's obvious to everyone. You missed out of the World Cup, and we are all angry. Like, Nigerians are angry. So nobody was really like, okay, let's go to the Nations Cup, whatever it is you can do, and all of that. But then, what Eric and his boys have done so far, starting with the first game, and I think the match against Tunisia is where the turning point was, because Tunisia went through the World Cup qualifier without conceding a goal. So it was supposed to be that test for the Super Eagles, but then they scale it, and they scale it well. So that was when the support from across the country now started coming in. And then third game, Mozambique, you made reference to the situation that happened, when we also Lukman and Osimhen, and then going to the bonus round and all of that. So I spoke to a colleague who was on ground, is part of the media team for the Super Eagles just this morning, and he was right there at the hotel, and he's telling me that nobody's thinking about it. Everybody's on board. The whole atmosphere is fine. There's really no injury issues, save for one player, Ryan Aledius, who is managing a niggling one. So everybody has forgotten all about that, and thankfully that the government also had to step in. So it's all water under the bridge. The guys are buoyed up. They are ready to give Nigerians something to celebrate after missing out on the World Cup. The only thing they can give is this. But it is Algeria, a familiar foe. Semi-finals in 2020, is it 2021? That they knocked us out. Oh, I think it was 2019. Thankful to Riyad Mahrez. Riyad Mahrez scoring that particular goal. There's that. That's the recent memory everyone can remember. But then Nigeria has not so pleasant memory with Algeria. In Nations Cup, we have met them 3 times, and they've also had opportunity to knock us out in the last 3 meetings we've had in the Nations Cup. But then Nigerians can always remember that our first Nations Cup glory was a win over Algeria in the final, a 3-0 win here in Lagos. So it's a side that we are looking at, but then also we don't want to see that as a done deal. As Algeria, they considered only 1 goal throughout the tournament so far. So they've got a very tight defense, a very solid one. Nigerians have been the highest scoring side, but then they've also leaked in goals against Tanzania, against Tunisia. Algeria, when they played the DR Congo, I was surprised when they took out Riyad Mahrez. But then they still went ahead to score a 119th winner. So it's a side that is resilient. And that's all of this is what the Super Eagles are aware of going to this game. We have a good record in the quarterfinal stage, as you are well aware. Nigeria have only once missed out on the quarterfinal stage. Just only 1 loss in quarterfinal stage, which was, as straight we have it, was against Ghana in 2008. And since that time, Nigeria have never lost in any quarterfinals, and every time they've always progressed. So it's overall Nigeria is that country with the most laurels when you combine all the medals in Nations Cup history. Even though they've only won 3 trophies, but they've won the most silver, they've won the most bronze medals. So it's a tournament that they know right now that they have to finish up and finish high. There's nothing else they can give. You were the deputy champion last time out. What else do you want to give your team, or your country, than going ahead to win it? Thankfully, all the boys are doing well, and they are in a very good mood. All the attackers are scoring goals. The defense just have to do their job to keep the Mazas of this world, the Riyad Mahrez of this world, the Baghdad Boneja of this world quiet, and then it will be a beautiful story afterwards. I can count on your support, right? I can count on Daniel's support.
Feto.
Definitely.
All right, Pashliman, what should either side do in a tricky duel like this, considering the kind of history that exists, which Sam has elaborated on?
I think with Nigeria, not much was expected from them before the tournament, but we're seeing a very effective Super Eagles team that's playing well now, and so it will be very interesting. There's been a bit of argument that perhaps they haven't really met a stiff opponent yet, so this gives them that platform to also show that, look, we're ready here and we're ready for business. So it's very important that Nigeria they win today. On the other hand, Nigeria looks very, very as a solid team, defends well, and they kind of keep their ass together and really play compact. So I think Nigeria needs to play a very good open game, control the game, and be able to use the pockets, and that will be their strength. Use Osimhen, use your strikers and the wingers, because remember, North Africans will always play through the wide areas, but even now we're seeing how much compact they becoming in defense, which wasn't used to be the case many years ago. And so Nigeria will have to play a very total game today. Whereas on the other hand, Algeria needs to really play quick on the break and to be able to unsettle Nigeria to get a very decent result.
Well. Fento, this is one, as they say, one for the gods.
Yeah, it will be some game, wouldn't it? I think for me, I definitely. I think I've seen a lot of conversation already among the Moroccan and Algerian fans about how Algeria versus Morocco will be the biggest football match in AFCON history. Almost automatically ruling out Nigeria and thinking that this will be a walk in the past. I think, to be fair, Nigeria, even though they've blown oppositions apart in this competition to the highest scorers, their forward line, fearsome, unstoppable, they've also shown some weakness defensively. Unfortunately, they've conceded 4 goals in this competition. Among the teams in the quarterfinals, they've conceded the most goals and they've scored the most goals. So, that's one area that they need to watch. We know that Algeria have a very, very tight defense. So basically, this is going to be a game of polar opposites, the best attack versus the best defense. And when Nigeria do find a way to breach that Algerian defense, the other question would be, are they able to keep out Algeria from scoring? Algeria in the group stages were ruthless. And let's not go back to their game against DR Congo and assume that because that went all the way to extra time and they ended up beating DR Congo, it meant that Algeria struggled. Even in I think we saw that the game really opened up in that second period of extra time. Anybody that watched that would realize that they had multiple chances to have won the game before they eventually did. In fact, the DR Congo goalkeeper had to pull out some double saves from Shaibi and I think another one from Buneja before Bolibina finally got the winning goal. So, and DR Congo are very, very strong. Nigeria would know that because they played them in the World Cup playoff. We all know how that turned out. So, the team that beat DR Congo can't be seen or can't be deemed to be a weak team at all. So Algeria are very, very strong, and they've got experience on their side as well because they've got surviving members from that 2019 team. Riyad Mahrez being captain, he's 34 now. But outside of him, obviously you also have Ben Sabaini still in the team. The former AC Milan midfielder, what is his name? He's also still in the team. Exactly. He's also still in the team. So and Bonet obviously.
What's for the winning goal?
Yes, exactly. So so they've got experience, a good mix of experience and youth. I think Shaibi has had a good tournament so far as well. So it will be a very, very interesting encounter. I definitely expect this game to travel the distance. I can't see. I think the key to Nigeria surviving this game obviously would be to try and keep it locked at the back. But they've shown that when it comes to North African teams, they can handle them. Because let's be fair here, before the Tunisia game, I was one of those people that thought, oh my God, this is going to be tough for Nigeria. But then they went in and completely blew Tunisia apart. And Tunisia had looked really good before the Nigeria game, and Nigeria tore them into pieces. So when they've got it going for them, Nigeria have been superb. I think one player for me that hasn't had a lot of credit or whose credit has gone under the radar a little bit in this tournament has been Iwobi. I think he's really had a good a good tournament. But obviously because Lukman and Osimhen are scoring all the goals, his contribution has gone under the radar. But he's been such a live wire. And Ndidi has shown great leadership as well. So, and this is one of, if not the most experienced Nigerian teams that we've had in a while. I think this team is probably far more experienced than the one that reached the last final in the previous AFCON. Because a lot of these people, a lot of these players were there, but they gain enough experience. And if you look at the way they negotiate games, you can see that the experience is coming and it's counting a lot for them. So I'm expecting a blockbuster game of football. This is the first time I think Nigeria are playing outside of Fes, isn't it? And
Yes, yes.
yeah,
All
so
the games, and because they won the group, so they remain to play the round of 16. But this
exactly.
first
So
time they're going to
it'll
Marrakesh.
be interesting to see how they cope as well outside of Fes because they've made that place a home. And anybody that they've played there, they've blown them apart. So for me, I think I'm actually like rooting for Nigeria. I hope they win because beyond everything else, this is also a battle of West versus North Africa. I want two.
Yeah, and our West African brother have to give us all the support, right?
Yeah, because think about it, because Nigeria are on one side, Senegal on the other side. And so if they do make the semifinals, they wouldn't play each other. And
Yeah, we got to play Morocco. Senegal gets to play the winner between Ivory
there you
Coast
go,
and
exactly. And guess what? This is what makes it so interesting. Both regional confederations, WAFU and North Africa, have 11 AFCON titles each.
yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
So
if that
somebody
hasn't
needs
occurred to
to
you,
go ahead right now.
exactly.
Wow.
If that hasn't occurred to you, now you should start thinking
Wow.
about it. Both the North Africa and West Africa both have 11 AFCONs each. Obviously, we know we know North Africa's numbers are
That's the
skewed by
level.
Egypt
Egypt has
7.
7.
Yeah, that's skewed by Egypt 7. But apart from that, they still have 11 anyway. So either way, whichever ones win will get the advantage. So there's also that undertone that we cannot get rid of. Like it's very important because Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire have 3, Nigeria 3, that's 6. You add Senegal's 1, that's 7. Ghana's 4, that's 11. All right. You go to
We
Egypt.
don't want to add the Cameroon because it's the Central Africa, right?
Oh yeah, that's South Africa. That's not. We're not counting years exactly. So, that's why. That's for me. That's the only reason I'm rooting for. I'm rooting for Nigeria.
Yeah.
But I think and Nigeria have more motivation beyond anything else to win this because if they win, they go level with Ghana on the number of AFCON titles, and then Ghana would have absolutely nothing more to brag over them. Like, don't you want that as Nigerians? Because when they had when they had 1 in 1980, Ghana had 3 already, and when Ghana had 4 in 82, Nigeria had 1. And look at that.
2013 has gone on over.
Definitely. Okay, guys, let's now have some final words on Egypt and what will prevent them from getting a historic 8th tournament. How good is it looking for Egypt in that tie that comes up later on this evening at 7 p.m. and what could be that factor that could stop them in their tracks? Final thoughts from you, Coach Ejejima.
A lot of people in this tournament, and this particular game, this tonight, gives them the chance to raise their game. I expect Egypt to also come full circle. I expect all the teams that are playing today basically to raise their game. This is the stage. This is where we want to see football. Also, the world is watching now, and we have the big boys around this time, and so we want to see all the teams raise their game. For us, these players, the Salahs and the Osimhens and the Lookmans, and these players are all ambassadors for our game. And so it's very important that we have all these people showcasing what we're about. And so that is very important to us. And so I think that tonight we should see a very good games, and then hopefully African football is celebrated.
For you, who should come out of that tie later this evening?
Now it's going to be hard. It's a tough one. If you put me to this world, it's a very tough one. But I think maybe Egypt, maybe just maybe.
Sam, what do you also think? Your final thoughts on that one? You think Egypt can make it?
I actually believe this is the toughest fixture among the quarterfinals. I think some people are looking at the Cameroon, Morocco, but I feel this is the toughest, and I don't think it's a match that's going to end in 90 minutes. Egypt have not been very impressive, but then they've been very, very compact. It's not Mo Salah of 2 seasons ago or 2 years ago that we see, but then it's got the goals. Obama Mush has yet to light up the tournament. This young man, Ashaw, Mahmoud Preziguet, all these guys have not really shown up. But then in a player like the goalkeeper, El Shenawi, who is rolling back the years and giving us the El Agri vibe, especially in that match against South Africa, where he put off some magnificent saves. I think Ivory Coast is going to need to do a lot. In fact, they will need to do a lot before they'll be able to breach that side. Yes, they've got some good talent up front, but then, and they are the defending champion, but this is going to be a very tough game for them. I feel Ivory Coast is going to pull through, but then it's not going to be that much that will be one-sided. It's going to be tough for both sides. And whoever gets to pull through, I can see that team in the finals already.
Okay. All right. Final thoughts from you, Fento, as we wrap this up. Egypt versus Cote d'Ivoire.
Yeah, now I think Cote d'Ivoire has been the most impressive team at this tournament. And that's why I think they're probably going to get knocked out. Hear me out. AFCON has never been won by the team that has played the most impressive football, unfortunately. You don't have to play well to win the AFCON. And Cote d'Ivoire's record against Egypt isn't great. They've never beaten Egypt in the AFCON. And this is the most contested fixture in AFCON history. And Cote d'Ivoire has yet to record a victory against the Egyptians. And as Kojo said, yes, Egypt haven't been necessarily very impressive, but they found a way to win games. I honestly hope that Cote d'Ivoire can get the win. If they do, I'll be very happy. It will be not less than they deserve. They have been so good to watch at this tournament. I would like to see how they cope under pressure with a team like Egypt, who's got enormous game winners all around in their team. So I think, by and large, honestly, I want Cote d'Ivoire to win. I think it will be a very good game. I just have this inkling that they might get knocked out, but I hope not.
Let's see how things go. Guys, thank you so much. I'm grateful to all of you. You have a good one, and just make sure that the cold doesn't catch you too much. All right, Sam, very, very grateful to you. Sam Adeyemi is a journalist from Nigeria, and of course, passionate man in the heart of London, bringing us some analysis as well. And we're grateful to John Boafo for joining us from Abidjan. It's Game On, and it sure will be very, very interesting. I'll share some messages with you before we wrap it up right about now. There's this lengthy one. It says, blessed day to you and a new year to you, Nathaniel Attoh, and your great team of journalists at Joy Sports. We're happy for Semenyo. I believe that he will do even greater exploits at Manchester City should he be given the opportunity any day. Now, to remember, I've always spoken about scouting for the Black Stars for the upcoming World Cup. Mohamed Kudus' injury should send a strong signal. Engineer Ajay Jan says he's also tuned in to World Semenyo Day. Okay, so another one here. Hi, West Africa has 14 AFCONs. This is from Kofi Ntema. Okay, thank you for the for the calculation. Not so far. There hasn't been any surprise in the AFCON yet. All the teams have progressed to the stage deservedly are there. The only country with much pressure now is the host nation Morocco, who I believe will win the trophy should they sail through. I just hope that CAF won't continue to oblige their demands by changing match officials. Prosper from Dakuman sent this one. And of course, this is what we get to say thank you to you for doing the listening. Before I go, let me say big shouts to my senior, my St. Augustine senior, good brother and friend, Nana Kweku Indum. Nana Kweku Indum is the vice president of Group Indum. Yeah, Dr. Papa Kwesi Indum's son. Yeah, that's him. Celebrating his birthday today, we say happy birthday to you, Nana Kweku Indum. And also, we say a happy blessed birthday to Beswa Dona Hammond. Beswa, happy birthday to you. And of course, the final one going to Nathan Kwache, my brother Nathan Kwache. He is the head of corporate banking at Access Bank. Nathan Kwache, big ups to you. This is from myself and from all the members. An amazing birthday indeed. I told you that the birthday is a birthday weekend. So whether it happened yesterday or it'll happen tomorrow, it's still a birthday weekend. So happy birthday to you, Nathan Kwache, the head of corporate banking at the group head of corporate banking at Access Bank. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, good friends and loved ones, this is how we wrap it up here on the Joy Sports Link on Joy 99.7 FM. It's been amazing sharing your company this afternoon, and I trust you all have enjoyed the show. We will be back next weekend with another Joy Sports Link. Thank you all very much for keeping faith with us. Benaya Elom Dafia Mekpo has led production this afternoon with coordination from all other members of the team scattered around. So later this afternoon, we're going to be taking you into the world of arts and entertainment, and Kwame Dazi, ably backed by the rest of the team, will take you between now and the evening. All the best with it, and